Sorry for the long wait. I wanted to take the opportunity to, in a sense, give credit to the nature of this island I'm currently on. I believe on Google Maps it is named Island 72. Interesting name, I must admit. So it does actually have a name, which I did not recall upon making my first video. Hence, I decided to grab, I figured it would be on Google Maps, but not the case. Hence, I think I already said hence, but hence, we are going to capture the sign, informing us, at least hopefully, assuming that it's accurate, hopefully informing us of its name. In case you're interested to come here to get some vacation. It's a nice beach, I would say. Sometimes people just show up randomly. A couple of days ago, a group of guys made a bonfire of like the garbage that was made, like a couple of random doors and so on. So it was interesting. And as you probably noticed, there's a bunch of construction cones all around. Currently, this is Winona, by the way. Currently they're building a bridge connecting Winona and Minnesota, or at least a second bridge. And so that's currently why there's so many cones, and you'll probably get to see some of it. So in this video I wanted to talk about what art is and design. What art and design is, and what's their, at least exploring what their relationship is. And then as well as this going into this, I'm planning this to be a two-parter. But going into this, for the first part is just exploring that relationship, and then following that, in my second part of this, it is seeing how that applies to my channel. And so what is art? For me, how I define it, let's see if we can find that sign. This is Buffalo County landing boat. I don't actually see the sign name. That's a bummer. I'll probably come back later and grab a snapshot of it. I feel like it must be on the other side, like right there. Anyways, to me, how I define art is the creative action or expressions of a person or people, which is very general, I must admit, because you could say just about anything that's like made by a person is very much fits within that definition. Though there's some things I would exclude, because with art, it's having more of an attention or using your creative ability. And creativity, I think, is another thing you must define. In that, I would say creativity is the ability to imagine, conjure, or envision new possibilities or opportunities, to see the world in a different light, or looking at a problem and be able to solve it in a different way from everyone else. And so design, I come from the perspective with my brother and sister-in-law being graphic designers, and my sister-in-law actually got me into this topic, or we discussed a lot about it early in the summer. Hopefully my voice is overheard over the traffic, but I'm planning to try out a new editing style for this video, which I'll get probably, the description probably already, Desc probably already got into it before this video started. So anyways, and it's very interesting because when you try to see the relationship to two things, it's based upon your definitions and what they mean. And so for me, design, in a sense, is having a plan, a roadmap, or even a sketch of your idea, because it's having a purpose. And that, especially for graphic design, and what graphic design is that it is, first off, a graphic designer is someone who usually works with a, actually I'm not sure, I need to reference my sources. But anyways, a graphic designer is someone, you see their work mostly in stores or displays. For instance, if you see a superhero booth, a graphic designer designed that in terms like its space, how it looks, the color palette, and many things really. It's interesting with the graphic designer, they have the task of also understanding how things like physically work as like an engineer. Meanwhile though, they're called in to, with having a purpose, either to sell this product, sell this brand, and meanwhile have that relate to an audience. Usually a particular demographic, like superheroes are usually targeted at children, even though there's a lot of adults I know who love superheroes, myself being one of them. I'll pause for a little bit. And so, with design, the graphic designer is tasked with understanding just about everything. For instance, like this bridge, they have to understand like how our bridge is made, how they look, what materials are they made out of, how do those materials like change over time with interaction with other materials. When people look at those arrangement of materials, like how do they feel, and as well as juggling that, as well as what their the brand or the product they're selling as well. And so a graphic designer is tasked with a lot of things to think about how to express an idea, but not just their idea, but being able to express someone else's idea, someone else's design. Hence, I think it's why it's called graphic design, and that someone has an idea or a purpose, and then it's the graphic designer's job to bring that to life, to animate it. So, what's the relationship between design and art? You could say it's pretty straightforward, that with design there's like a purpose and such, and art can fulfill that purpose. For instance, like in aesthetically pleasing buildings, lights, and so on, where when people come either in tourism or just to have that all experience, to either be a source of catharsis, be a source of inspiration, be a source of joy and enrichment. And you can say that's very much a purpose. This bridge itself, I mean, you can look at it as a thing made only just for the cause of allowing people to cross from one place to another. But another way, you can also look at it and be enticed by its form, its shape. Throw in there, shape is usually referring to a 2D space, while form is a 3D space. But, as with my conversation I had earlier this summer with my sister-in-law, graphic designer, who, if interested, I'll mention in the description as a free plugin. But anyways, something that we drew upon and questioning this idea that like the art and design have like a tight relationship is the idea if you were to go to your local grocery store and then you see a person standing in the corner of the sidewalk before entering the building, and before, as I just said, entering the building, the person just screams with all their might. Now, the first thing you're probably going to think is like, ow, what? Why would you do that? It's so out of place. It's so strange. What? I don't understand. You feel a feeling of confusion because you weren't expecting this experience. And what we found interesting is that you could say that there's really little design in that, or at least that can be seen right at first glance. And so this really threw a wrench in our idea about art and design, because you could say that person there, what they're doing is creating an experience, evoking a certain emotion in you, or maybe even themselves as well. But it's very spontaneous and just like instant there. The person didn't think of it doing this beforehand with the design or a plan, they just did it. And so you could say that sometimes, like, as a result of that, things may not go as intentioned. Unexpected things could occur without having the foresight of knowing what shall come. Or you could be even completely unaware of what the purpose of the thing is. Being careful not to drop my camera. But I wanted to show you that. Because if you know what that is, I'll be interested to know. And so, with the screaming man or woman, I'll just say person. With the screaming person, you don't know how to feel because you don't know what the design or intent of it is, just the art in itself. If you're willing to call it that. I am, because I would call it art because, let's say, at least in thinking that what if the guy did this because to express themselves? That is very much creative expression. Again, perhaps my definition is very loose, though that's how I define it. Yeah, if you have any ideas of like what you think art is, or what it is, as well as its impact on people, let me know. I'm really interested to hear. And so, with that wrench, I find it interesting where also, you could say that act has design. That person was there with the intention, planning for this for a week ahead to do this thing, to create this kind of experience. And thought about like how to do the perfect pitch of scream, the perfect volume, as well as the perfect timing. Though, if we were to change the word design with art, what happens then is that you can't really tell like what's intentional and what's not. Everything, because it's so ambiguous, you're unable to tell what's purposeful and what's not, what has a design and what doesn't. Now, you could say that objectively, you could say, alright, a light is made to shine and illuminate, to clear the path before one, or to fill the darkness, so that we may see. Like that could be like the first intent. Yet, I could take a picture of that and declare that it's a sculpture, or my photograph of it is art. And with that, it shows how very tied design and art is. Except also, I could say the light is made to attract bugs so that people can like gaze upon the bugs and know that they're there and their beauty. So at this point, especially in our age, where you have several artists, and I would love more artists in the world. That's what I think someday I want to do with my channel, which I'll go into part 2. Yet, because of this, we're unable to draw the line from, alright, what's totally random, from what's intentional and what's purposeful, what is not random. I find that a very interesting thing. I should probably keep myself from saying that phrase way too many times since I've done my first video. And so, we're faced with this, if you want, you could call it a dilemma, but depending on your perspective, it could be also a very amazing thing. Be able to look at the world and find deeper meaning and connections that you haven't before. Part of me finds that really a fantastic thing. Because of that, we have meaningful conversations that could go on for, well, I was going to say infinity, but until our bodies decay. Another friend of mine, we were kind of a discussion about, well, I'll say discussion because I'm planning to make it a video of it, similar, not exactly like PBS Lady channel, but in the sense of like talking fast, throwing a bunch of information out there and connections, meanwhile with my own twist. And so anyways, my friend proposed to me the idea about, as an artist, let's say an artist is tasked with the job of using a fishing pole as a writing utensil, like a full-on fishing pole. My friend describes to me that this artist will struggle for a long time and get nowhere. The artist shall spend like hours and hours, and if the artist chose to, days, months, and years, and it would take that artist essentially forever, at least till the end of their life, to create a piece of art. And so with that, the artist has like a design, and it's definitely for sure art, except the design is kind of flawed and misleading. Though an amazing feat, was it worth the opportunity cost? I mention this because as artists, we have to figure out, alright, how can I maximize my efficiency of creating stuff, sharing those things to the world, and then perpetually create more in a proficient way, or at least get into that proficient state. And for me also, thinking about that, the fishing rod and such, my friend has a really great point, and this is why I really so far enjoy YouTube. Really so far as in being a week since I first uploaded, but I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos since then, so I think I don't know, the definition of YouTuber is very interesting. Like, is a YouTuber someone who uploads content to YouTube, or someone who watches a lot of YouTube, you know? But with English, since in English you keep going more details and details as you talk, I think with English we're able to define, I'm a YouTube watcher, I'm a YouTube creator. Starting to do gestures. I'm gonna try to get myself from doing that so I can practice transitioning the camera. Is this whole parking lot? No, it's not blocked off. And so yes, the bridge is going to be right over here. A couple of buildings were demolished so that this new bridge could be made.